Addison Smith. I'm a senior at HSE High School. I run the 400 and the 800 and the 4x4 and the 4x8. I'm going to Miami University next year to run track. And yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you run the 4 and the 8. What about you were on that 800 team that was at New Balance? Yes.
Yes, I was. I was on the DMR team and the
Okay.
4x8 team at New Balance. But I was on the DMR team that got yeah, we got fourth. Got All-American there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
we just got a little All-American. No, that's great.
Really?
We'll hype you up for you.
Right.
Being a humble athlete, that's super dope. So,
Right.
what do you like the which one out of the 4 and the 8 would you
I
say?
like the 400 better. That's what I spend most of my time. So I actually sprint train. I don't do any like distance. I used to run cross country,
Mhm.
not anymore. I've just kind of realized I'm like better at like the more faster things. So I train with sprints and then I still run the 800, but I like the 400 better. I'm like
Mhm.
equally the same at both of them. And like I said, I'm on the 4x4 and the 4x8. So yeah, but I definitely like the 400 better.
And that's so it's interesting how the 800 has evolved in general, where it is not what it
Right.
used to be, and it is the sprint
Right.
now, the
Yes, for
way
sure.
athletes are running it. So how did track come about? How did you get into the sport?
I've been running since I was really little. I used to play soccer and basketball and volleyball. So I thought I was going to play soccer all through high school and into college. That's what I thought I was going to do. And then like I said, I actually used to be a very big distance runner. I ran cross country. I really didn't like track. When I did run track, I would run like the mile and all the long events. I didn't do any of the sprint stuff, none of the fast stuff. And then I kind of got into high school and I've always done track and cross country. Then I kind of realized I like track a lot better and it's what I'm better at and stuff. So I've kind of been focusing on track since then. And then, like I said, that's what I'm going to college for. I'm not running cross country or anything. So yeah.
Nice. Well, what's been your best memory thus far?
I think my best memory is when my 4x4 team, we went to New York. We went to Nike Nationals in New York and we won the 4x4. So
Wow,
I was a national champ with my 4x4 team, which was really fun. That was definitely like my best memory. It was so cool to win that. And
definitely. What an experience,
it
right?
was,
Like,
yeah, it was crazy. It was so fun. We were not
wow.
expecting it, to say the least, but we all pulled our part and yeah.
Wow.
When was
So that,
this? When was
yeah,
that?
yeah, I was gonna say
That
when.
was March of last year.
Oh, last year y'all
March
did.
of 2024.
So
Wow.
like pretty new. Like
hmm
that's
Yeah,
a
that
big
was yeah.
deal.
Definitely a really good start for our season too, because it was during
Absolutely.
indoor. It was at the Armory in New York, so it was kind of
Yeah.
like a really good start for our season too. So yeah, we got the new Indiana State record. We broke the 12-year record, so went like a 351 something, which was
Yeah.
that was cool. So
Love it. So that's a big stage, right? Big.
mhm.
Beginning of the year is big. How do you, as a senior, I'm sure over time you've kind of looked at your competition, but how do you prepare for those type of competitions? That's
Yeah, that's just like a like mentality has always been such a big thing for me. Like that's definitely like my biggest thing is like if I'm not in the right mental space before competition, then it's kind of just out the door. So I've really learned how to like be able to like calm myself down. Obviously like nutrition and things like that. I listen to my music. I definitely distance from everyone. Like all my teammates would say I don't really talk to anyone for a good hour and a half before. Like
Mhm.
I just get in my own zone, but I definitely just like I try to give like positive affirmations and just like kind of like reflect on like the big moments where I did well and I've done well before. And then it kind of like, just like I'm like, I can do this, whatever. Like, I just have to be in a good mental spot. And then usually if I'm like, you can keep going, you can do it, and then I do. Like, I will tell myself, keep going, or I'll even be like, you can be going faster in this, like, whatever. And then I do it. So it's all, for me, everything is mental.
So we know
What?
when we see you at meets, we'll wait until after the entire meet is over. Under the sun.
Right. Right. Yeah. Right.
Right. Otherwise, we might get in our feelings. Be like, oh, she didn't want to speak.
I know. I'm just like, I'm so zoned in. I have my
No, that's
AirPods
okay.
in. I just kind of, you know.
That's that's okay. That's great that you
Yeah.
lock in.
Yeah.
So what's your view on hard work versus talent? What are your thoughts on that?
I think. I think everyone who runs has talent to an extent. If you're able to compete and you're able to run and do well, I think like you have talent, but I don't think that talent will ever be able to show if you don't have hard work. Like I think you have to put in the hard work and you have to put in the effort and really try and like do your best, do what you know you're supposed to do, and then that talent will come out. I think talent helps, but if you work hard and like there is that like hard work aspect, like you will do well. Even if you have talent and don't do anything to prove it, then I don't, like I think you need hard work for sure.
So, you talked about how you lock in for your competitions. You have a kind of a ritual or process that you go
Mhm.
through. How do you handle, if sometimes we have setbacks, right? You've been
Right.
competing since you were young. So how do you handle those setbacks?
So, okay, so actually like I was right before we were at New York, for that I was in a really bad car accident, which was like one of the biggest setbacks that I've had. It was in December, we went in March. It was at the very end of December. It was December 28th, I think, and then we went the beginning of March. So it happened kind of like right in the midst of winter training and like right before. And like one thing that my dad told me is everything happens for a reason. And that has stuck with me ever since. Like I hope to get it like tattooed on my arm before I go to college in his handwriting. That's just like what I tell myself now. So I think like for handling setbacks, like you can always push through. You just have to kind of like, I guess, kind of what goes with the hard work part is like you have to put in the effort and the hard work to be able to continue to move on. Like that definitely wasn't easy, but I had to. So I think with any setback, you can continue to move forward as long as you work hard when you can after the mentality piece. Like I was injured a lot my freshman and sophomore year in cross country. I was in a boot and I would just tell myself like it's okay. I would do all my cross training. I would like do as much as I could, like control the things I can control. And I was always fine in the outcome. So,
Nice. Now you mentioned your dad and what he's said to you.
yeah.
What type of values would you say your parents have instilled in you to keep you going and keep you to help you get to where you are now?
Yeah, my parents are definitely like my biggest supporters. They will drop anything, like I said, to like book a flight to New York or book a flight to anywhere. Like they're always there. They always push me to be my best, and they'll be honest with me if I'm not doing something that could take me to my best potential, or if I'm not doing my best, or if I'm in a bad mental spot. Like, especially my dad would be completely honest with me, like your attitude is not where it needs to be. Like, you're better than this. So they definitely push me to be my best, but they also support me so much. Like they are always like they're always on the gate by the start and finish line every single one of my meets. Like they have my fat heads, like they have all their gear with like my last name on it. Like we have like my posters are hung up in the basement and everything. Like we take pictures after every meet. Like they're my biggest supporters. So I don't know where I'd be without them. They
Love
just
it. Well, you
yeah.
got to shout their names out. We like to give them their flowers. What are your parents' names?
My dad is Brian and my mom is Lori.
All right.
Yeah.
Brian and Lori, rock on.
Look,
Yep.
when we see the fat heads this year, we know
Right.
we're gonna be
Right.
looking for
Yep.
the fat heads for
Yeah,
sure.
you will definitely be able to find the fatheads. Yeah.
So you talked about like you being open and your dad giving you feedback, like checking you wherever you need to and you
Right.
being open to that. So how do you handle feedback in general from your coaches or anyone giving you feedback on your performances?
I'm definitely sometimes it kind of depends. Sometimes I'm really hard on myself. So if I did bad and someone gives me feedback right away, like my dad knows not to talk to me right away after because I'll be like, I'll snap him. I'll be like, I know, like whatever. But I definitely take in what everybody has to say, just kind of like I'm also really hard on myself. So I definitely like take in the feedback and I use it for sure. And it definitely my coaches give me some of the best feedback. I had this one coach in particular, Coach Hud. He's actually the football coach and the boys track coach, but he is always there and supports us girls too. And he gave me this whole talk before one of these races when I was just not in a good mental spot. Like I did not want to, it was before my 800. I did not want to run. And he just gave me this whole talk and he was like, not nice, but in a good way, where he was just like, it really, ever since then, I literally think of what he says sometimes before races if I don't want to do it. He was like, "Get your head out of your butt. Like you are so much better than this." And I always think about that. So I definitely take feedback in and I definitely listen to what people have to say, but I'm also super hard on myself and I'm kind of stubborn right after. But once I kind of cool off, then I definitely
That's good to know. Like we actually experienced that this weekend and like learning our athletes and meeting them where they
Right.
are, right?
Right.
Because some athletes you can give them that feedback right away, and then other athletes they need a little bit of
Just need
time.
a minute. Yeah.
And so like meeting athletes where they are as a coach is really important. So thank you
Right.
for that transparent moment
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
sometimes need a second. So
Right.
Yeah. We're learning. We're learning. So what would you say is the best piece of advice that you have received thus far?
Everything happens for a reason. That was just it's not even necessarily like I guess like a piece of advice, but that's just like I go by that all the time, even in track. Like if something doesn't go the way I wanted it to, I'm like, well, there was a reason for that. I can learn from that. Like I guess like that's not necessarily like a big like chunk of advice, but that's just like a saying that I never really even thought of before that had happened. And ever since then, like for like the past year, it's just been like, yeah, I always think of it.
yeah, no, that's great. No, that's, I mean, look, that's a staple. I've
Yeah.
heard that a lot, and so I think that's great. Gives you perspective, and so, you shared like your freshman and sophomore year, you had a few injuries, and then you had a
Mhm.
setback prior to going to run in New York. How do you, you know, going forward, how do you help prevent injury or stay healthy throughout what's a very quick but long track
Right.
season?
I definitely know my body more now. I know what gets me hurt and what doesn't. And one of those things is running a bunch of mileage. That was like the biggest thing that I found out, like kind of why I train with sprints. I'm so much better off with like the strength and, like lifting and stuff, making my body stronger. When I would run a bunch of mileage, that's when it would kind of go downhill. I don't think like my body just works in a different way where I can run a good 800 and I could still go on like a 6 or 7 mile run. But when I'm constantly running a bunch of mileage, that's kind of when I notice I get hurt. I have a bunch of Achilles issues, so I've done like a bunch of strengthening down there and stuff. That was kind of what put me in the boot in the beginning. My trainers at school, Jenna, she's so good. She makes me go in there twice a week and she'll hunt me down if I don't to make sure I go in there and I like just stretch and if I need taped or rolled or iced or anything like that, making sure I do that. I see an athletic trainer. His name's John Grant. I go to him a lot and he's helped me so much. He's really good at what he does. So I think like seeing people and getting the treatment I need and also taking breaks when I need it. I've done a ton of biking and a ton of cross training that I like don't even like to look at a bike anymore. I've been on one for so long. I would go for like 2 hours at a time and I would just bike. So yeah, definitely stopping. And I know my body. I know when I'm about to get hurt. And now I like would rather prevent it than have it fully happen and have to re-heal again from it.
What would you say is the biggest sacrifice that you've made because of the sport?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think a lot of so since I noticed that I had, well, first of all, time. I dedicate so much time to it and I go to a bunch of extra trainings, just like strength training, speed training, things like that. Like it takes up all my time, takes up all my weekends. I mean, I obviously have time for friends and family. I make sure to make that, but I definitely like I've sacrificed like a lot of times I could have with my friends or something to try to like better myself. Also, one of the biggest sacrifices I've had to make is also choosing cross country or track, which was kind of like weird because I knew that I wanted track, but it was kind of hard to let go of fully doing cross country because I've done it for so long. I've done it my whole life. It was kind of hard. Like it kind of hit me like when I was done, I was like, I really can't ever do this again. Like I'm fully focusing on track, which I'm really happy with. But that was definitely kind of hard because I've done it for so long and I thought that that's what was gonna kind of be my future in college and stuff. And I kind of slowly started realizing like it's not. And so I guess you could call that a sacrifice. Yeah.
It was definitely a different putting you in a different space, right?
Right. Yeah.
Having to choose between two things you really enjoyed.
Right.
How would you say you navigate your individual goals with your team goals?
Yeah, that's like, so I think, especially since I'm on a bunch of relays, we definitely have a bunch of team goals, but then we also have a bunch of individual goals. And for me, I know that like I want to help my team and I want to like put forth effort for them. And it kind of helps like when I'm running on relays, I'm like, you're not just doing this for yourself, like you're doing it for your team, like you're going to let people down. And obviously, track is a very individual sport, I would say, but it also is such a team sport, especially on relays. So I think supporting all my teammates also who have individual goals and being like, hey, like if you can reach your individual goal here and I can reach mine, then we can all come together and we can do this big thing, which I think is what we did in New York when we were all just supporting each other and like go run your best. It'll all come together and it did. That's what happened at state. We won the 4x and the 4x4 at indoor state last year, and then we've gotten third in some 4x8s and 4x4s at state. We didn't have like a great 4x4 at state, outdoor state last year, but we had like some injuries and stuff. But still, like everyone put forth their best effort, and like we didn't necessarily get what we wanted, but we still did really well with not our best day. So kind of like I think supporting everybody, if everyone can reach their individual goals, like we'll all reach our team goals. And I try to do that and stay positive and set goals for myself to help my team.
Nice. Now you're on your way to college.
Yes.
Everybody who goes to college works hard.
Right.
What is going to be the thing that separates you, though?
So when I was picking a college, I knew I wanted obviously something really good for academics. I wanted to be a physical therapist, so I wanted a good kinesiology program that would set me up for that. But I also like I wanted a program that had a coach that really believed in me already and like knew that like I would come in and we're like we really want you here, like you will impact this team right away. Obviously I talked to a lot of coaches and stuff, but at Miami like the coach I talked with, he specifically was like once you come in like you're gonna make an impact on this team. Like really can't wait to have you here. Like I'm gonna continue to make you better and things like that. So I think just knowing that I can go in and already make an impact on the team, but also knowing like I have so many goals I want to reach and get so much better in college as well, and just like the whole experience of being a college athlete. So I just think like knowing that I will go in and make a difference will kind of it'll push me to definitely work hard because I do already have goals for myself for college and for the next level.
How do you see your competitors?
That's a good one. I It's kind of, I mean, I know some people have like competitors who they like completely butt heads with like every time they see them, they're like, oh, that person. I don't necessarily have that. I mean, I know the people who I'm like, okay, this is gonna be hard, but they honestly push me so much. If I see somebody, I'm like, sometimes it's mentally hard where I'm like, okay, I could get my head and be like, oh, they're better than me, whatever. But I've kind of learned to just be like, I just have to go for it and try to stay with them, go for them. Like at the end of the day, we're all here. We're all running in this same race or same meet, whatever. Like I have the abilities to do that. So I don't really try to let that stress me out as much because I know for some people that's like a big thing, but for me it's so much more like individual. Like I'm my biggest critique more
Mhm.
so than like competitors or other people. But
Well, when you being your biggest critique, how do you measure success?
I think just like if I did well for as much as I could for that day. Like obviously there's different times where you can do better than others. If there's different like situations where you could like drop time or place or whatever. But if I know that I like put my best foot forward for that day and like there was nothing more I could have done no matter the outcome, obviously it's great to drop time. Obviously it's great to like win and place and medal and all that stuff. Like that obviously has a big part in it. But I definitely like I'm like hard on myself, but I'm easy on myself in the sense where like I know if like something like when I would get hurt all the time, if I was injured right away, like I would give myself some grace. Same with like after that accident, like getting back into it, like I gave myself a lot of grace. So it's really like if I know I did the best I could for that day and I like didn't really like not mess up, but I didn't like slack in any aspects that like I know I could do better, and then I would say I did well.
And so how do you celebrate in those moments where you're just like, look, I did my best, we're celebrating. How do you?
Definitely with my team. I like my teammates are like the best. I love them. We're so close. And I like we have such a good team of like supportive people. Like if you do anything that makes you happy, the whole team will be happy. Like some of my closest friends, like everyone will be there to cheer you on right away. And that's definitely how with my parents, my mom, especially my mom is always happy. Like even if she doesn't know what's going on or what I just did, like she is so happy. Like I could get last and she would be so excited. So my parents, my siblings are also always there to support me. I have a brother and sister, they're twins. They are in eighth grade and they're always there too, holding my fat head or something. My coaches are, I'm super close with my coach. Like she's so supportive. So definitely just like with people, I have a really good team knowing like if you did well, they all know. They'll know. Like they'll be able to tell if you're kind of like, ooh, stay away. that might not have been the best, or oh yeah, like we should celebrate. We always sometimes we'll go to like dinner after meets and stuff to like celebrate. Just like we take a lot of pictures and yeah.
We would be remiss. We know your coach's name, but please share your coach's name with the
Coach
nation.
Alano. Coach Alano, yeah, I love her so much. She's awesome. She's so funny and she's great. She pushes us, but yeah, she's awesome.
Now, what are you looking forward to this upcoming season?
It's really sad that it's last season, but I'm really looking forward to just, I think with how much success our relays had last year, specifically our 4x4, we know that we can do a lot this year. And we've gotten a lot better. Me and two other girls on my team, we've trained really, really hard this winter. Like it's felt like normal season. We've done all these really hard workouts, but they've like definitely helped. And I feel like we all are much more confident this year going into last year or going into this year than going into last year, just like with how much success we had last year. And I think like now we have these goals where like we hope to win state, like we hope to get like some like records and times and things. And then individually, I just really honestly like my times. I know I can drop them and do better. So I'm looking forward to honestly just like seeing what this season has in store with just kind of like how last season went and then how I've like kind of taken that into like the winter and now this season. So yeah, I'm excited. It should be fun. And just being with all my friends and my teammates.
Awesome. Well, if we wanted to follow you on social media, what platforms are you on?
Um, Probably Instagram. I have Twitter. I don't really post on Twitter as much. It was more during my recruiting process I would. So Instagram.
And what's your Instagram handle?
I want to say, I think it's Addison.Smith with two T's and all lowercase. Yeah, so
We'll look it up and
yeah,
sometime somehow tie it in with what you have going on here, maybe
yeah.
in the notes or something.
Yeah, it's Addison.Smitth.
Well, Addison, we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah,
Looking
thank
forward
you.
to seeing you this season.
Yes,
Yes,
good luck. We're looking
thank
forward
you
to
so
some
much.
great things. We'll know
Yeah,
to not say anything to you until after the
yeah.
400 at least, right? The 400
Right.
meter.
And
Um,
tell your coach to respond to our email because she's supposed to be on here too.
yeah,
Oh
tell
my gosh.
coach. Yeah,
Oh, I
tell coach
will.
we ready. We ready for
Oh,
her to share.
I want to see that. I will make sure to
Yes.
tell her. Yeah,
Yes.
Tell her we were asking about her.
I
Yes.
will. Oh, she'll be honored. She has so much going on, so many emails all the time and stuff. She
Yeah.
probably just
Well,
has.
she's humble because we saw her in person and she was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh no, I don't want to." We're like, "We want
Yeah,
you to come and share yourself with
Yeah,
them."
no, she needs to. I will tell her. She'll do it. I'll get her to.
Yes.
cool.
Well,
All
thank you
right.
guys so much.
Thank
Yeah, thank you.
you.
You have a
Yes.
good one.
You too.
All right.